Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. This is Steve, aka Dreaming Crow, and I thank you for stopping by and listening to this presentation for this week. We will be continuing with the follow along series, and this is going to be an introduction to week 4 of that series. Now, last week in week 3, I really didn't put any videos out concerning this because I figured that there was a great amount of content that I put on in week 2 along with that introduction. So I kind of allowed people to go ahead and continue to work with that. Plus, last week was a little, there was a lot going on, so I didn't quite have time for too many things at that point. So again, if you are a returning member to my channel, welcome back, and thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time on my channel and you do like the content that I put out, by all means, excuse me, wow, please hit that subscribe button and the like button down below, along with that notification bell. Anytime I put out new content, you will be alerted to that. Okay, and if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the down in the question and comment section below. As soon as I get a notification about that, I try to make every effort to answer all the questions or comments that come through for each of my videos. Let's see. Last night, myself and Roderick Z, Damian James, and a few other people did join in a live Facebook chat session. We did talk about a number of things. Initially, we did talk a little bit about some books on the market and what are some of the things that we're looking to do here in the next couple of months as individuals and as a group. We did talk quite a bit about Holy and Guardian Angel work and Qigong, some healing magic, and a number of other topics. So if you were able to attend that live chat session with us, thank you for doing that. If not, do give me a couple days. I do have the video feed coming into me. I was not able to personally record that because I didn't set the room up for myself. But I do have Roderick Z looking to share that content with me. As soon as I get that feed, I will go ahead and edit it into a video for my channel and get that uploaded so that you can review what we talked about. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the sigils that we're going to be covering this week and how they're going to be used a little bit, and then close out this video. And then, of course, this week I will be uploading each of those sigils of power in regards to how they're going to be used for our topic, which is reprogramming ourselves for money and finances and removing negative programming to money and finances. So give me just a moment and I will see you on the other side. All right, so the first sigil of power that we're going to be talking about this week, and I'm pretty much going to go through them in this particular order as I release the videos, is going to be the 7th sigil of power, which is Aka. Okay, Aka translates to understanding connections, and this particular sigil shows us how we are related to other people and things in our life, and how these connections are vital to our needs, our purposes, and sometimes even our very survival. Okay, using Aka does help us to see what we can release and what we need to hold on to. So identifying and letting go of the, as we identify what is needed in our lives, and as we identify what is not, we can release those burdens that are no longer required or that no longer serve us. We'll be using a Ka both in contemplative magic to identify the connection to fear, and in results-based magic to let go of fear. Okay, now in the second week introduction, I did mention how some people do have fear associations with money, such as things like fear of success, fear of failure, fear of not being, good enough, or having like the required skills in order to own the business or become successful. When we use in contemplative magic, we are able to better recognize the connection of the fear that we have that is associated with that particular area that we're looking for. In this case, money, success, and finances. So when you center your focus on this connection you have with fear and money in your contemplative meditation, we're able to realize what that is, and those imageries come to the surface for us to be able to handle those fears and get rid of them. Ka in results-based magic will give us the ability to also release those fears more easily. Okay, and the next one we're going to be talking about is Ya, which is the 67th Sigil of Power. Oftentimes with change and transformation, oftentimes with change and transformation, new growth can be and is experienced along in that process. The problem with new growth for a lot of us is that it's not always welcoming. As humans, we simply are creatures of habit, and we tend to lean towards situations that often give us the most comfort, and which are more or less easier for us to deal with. So we don't generally take to change quite as easily. Change often does frustrate us, and we generally cringe, some of us, at the very idea of changing our habits or even our way of thinking. Doesn't necessarily mean that you change your principles on the subject, but you do want to get a better understanding of what is preventing you from changing. In contemplative magic, you will need to focus on each of the three areas which will be covered in this area, which is why there is a needed to understanding the need for change, as well as to seek to understand the pains of discomfort to the change that is necessary, and finally, why welcoming transformation is beneficial. So again, we will be focusing on contemplative magic with that. As well as results-based magic. So again, the three areas will be welcoming transformation, accepting the discomfort for change, and understanding the need for change. So you will be using that particular sigil 3 separate times. You want to use that like one time for each of those situations. Finally, again, in results-based magic with Iya, we are looking to remove that resistance to change. Okay, and naturally with all of the change comes resistance, as we just mentioned. This very area will be one of those that is going to be probably the most difficult for some of us to grasp, unfortunately. In results-based magic, seek to understand what resistances you have to this change and what keeps you, or that wants to keep you where you are, and seek to understand why maintaining this resistance is and can be detrimental to your goals for achieving greater success and financial stability. Finally, we do want to seek to understand why the greater good there is to be had in removing this resistance and accepting the new change and the good that comes with it. The The 34th Sigil of Power is Lahak, and it teaches us about letting go. Sometimes when we are so focused on our desire or goal, we often have tendency to forget to let go of that desire, to put in terms related to our discussion with money and finances. When we are in need of earning or getting more money, we tend to forget to let go of the money that we currently have. We often have a tendency to really hold on to what we have too tightly, and often we have this refusal to let go of the money that we have. And when we hold on to something too much, the very sense of clutching on to what little money we have tends to show a physical display of desperation and scarcity. And if you want more money to flow into your life, then money needs to flow out of your life as well. It's not to say that you need to spend every single penny that you own every single week, or every time you get your paycheck. But if again, if you're just clutching onto it because you feel like you don't know when you're going to get more money, even though that you'll probably get paid, the following week or every other week, like most of us do, that can lead to a problem. It's not to say that you can't hold on to money simply in case if there's, emergencies. But doing so because out of fear that you may not get any more is part of the problem here. It's showing desperation and scarcity. So again, just like the changing tides of the planets with the seas and the oceans, there needs to be an ebb and flow. So must there be an ebb and flow with the money that comes in and out of our lives. When we use Lahak in Contemplative Magic, we want to ease ourselves into the idea of letting go of what we have in order to allow more to flow in. We also want to contemplate on understanding what we gain in giving even a little bit of what we have to others, and how this helps into us receiving more money in the future. So again, Lahak is translates to letting go, and we'll be using it contemplatively to ease for the ease of letting go of what we have, as well as for the ease of giving what we have in order to receive more. And we are coming down to the final three that I will be kind of brushing up on here a little bit. The 70th Sigil of Power is Yabam, and every time you use Yabam, you open your reality to becoming more malleable, of course. And I did mention this in some other videos in the past, but this is always worth re-mentioning, okay? So with that, you can, with having your life become more malleable, it's easier to, for your life to take shape and become the reality that you want. In results-based magic, we will be using Yabam for this very purpose. The other need for Yabam is for you to seek to understand the patterns and decisions you made in your life up to this point that has led you to where you are now. Yabam, when used, you'll also be using Yabam to seek to understand the significance to identifying the patterns in your decision making that have, again, led you up to the point that you are now. Okay, those patterns will often have one or more variables in common, and understanding those variables will help to reveal to you why you are always ending up in the same situation, in a lot of different areas, or in some areas. So in other words, why do you always end up in the same failed type of relationship? Why do you always end up in the same type of dead-end job? So on and so forth. Okay, why do you always have a certain type of friend, that hangs around you or something like that. For this to happen, you want to obviously understand how this has an effect on you. And just to give you a hint, the most common or obvious variable and will always be you in that process. It's up to you to understand the other variables that there are. So, my question to you is, what will you do to change those variables? Okay, so with Yabam, we are using this in order to see the patterns in the events of our lives and also to make our reality more malleable. Okay, oftentimes one of the first emotions in regards to obtaining more money is that we end up having or feeling guilty for asking or needing or wanting more money in our lives. For most of us, we've been told that, what we have is what we get, or, we've been taught that there's lack and scarcity thereof, not just in money, but in sometimes other resources. And that often has to do with some contributing factors. One, we often allow ourselves to have someone tell us or determine what our net worth is. Okay, and the other factor is that our net worth is often determined by the type of industry and the type of work and the type of position that we go into, like into that particular industry. Okay, so obviously by choosing one industry over another or choosing one position over another has a determining factor on how much money you're going to be earning, quite literally. And oftentimes this can be good or it can be bad. Why are you always ending up in, like, say, the same dead end job? Because the decisions that you made up to this point, in your life, is always like leading you to that particular area. For instance, okay. In short, there's nothing with wanting or needing more money. Obviously, it is the current form of exchange that we use to obtain goods and services. But oftentimes we have people telling us that you should never ask to want more money or need more money than what you're given or what you earn, and that sometimes that religious groups or affiliations will sometimes be the ones that tell you that if you're wanting more money or asking for more money, that you should feel guilty for wanting more, because if you ask for too much, they say that it shows that you're too greedy, which is just bullshit to begin with. So we need to understand the purpose behind that. So using Dani and results-based magic is going to help us to identify the guilt for wanting more money, and will also help us to remove the feeling of guilt and shamefulness for wanting more money. So Dani is the 50th Sigil of Power. It translates to the light of prosperity. And there are several reasons for using Dani and results-based magic. But in this particular case, we're just going to be using it to remove the guilt about money or about wanting more money. Finally, the 65th sigil, which is Dameb, helps us to experience true gratitude and receiving more gratitude. is also experienced in giving as well. Okay, when we tip servers and waitresses at a restaurant, or we tip our Uber drivers or other people, we essentially give them a gratuity, which is to show our gratitude for the service they provide to us. Okay, as I get into each of the sigils individually, as I put these lessons out this week, I will be talking a little bit more about how gratitude does work in the whole idea of receiving more money and more finances for our personal lives. So again, we will be using Dameb in results-based magic here, and Dameb translates into the pleasure of success. There are several reasons for using Dameb in results-based magic. One, to become one with success, to attract success, and to experience true gratitude. We're pretty much just going to be focusing on experiencing true gratitude at this point, though the other results-based magic, to become one with success, to attract success, will come at a later date. It's just that we want to focus on one particular area at this point right now. So those are going to be the Sigils of Power that I will be covering this week. I will be putting out results-based magic and contemplative-based magic rituals for each of those. And as in the past, I will be walking you through those particular rituals in order to help you out, kind of like a little bit of hand-holding like I did before. All you need to do is follow along, insert your contemplative-based magic where it's necessary, and I will be pronouncing all the words of power for you. And all you need to do is sit back, relax, and allow the meditative and process to come through at that point, and for you to realize, what it is that you need to change, or why you need to change it, or in that sense, just as we did in week 2. So with that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call this video done at this point. Do look forward to those videos as I put them out over the next couple days this week to get us started. Okay, and with that, I bid you a very fond farewell. Take care, and goodbye.